All right, ICE arresting 16 Iranian nationals since Sunday across 11 states, including one who is accused of serving as a sniper for the Iranian army.
And two men accused of trying to assassinate President Trump on behalf of Iran appeared in court yesterday ahead of their trials. Both are charged with murder for hire.
Former DHS Secretary Jay Johnson joins us now. I think, Mr. Secretary, thanks so much for joining the program. This is just another.
It's very interesting that right after the Tucker Carlson, I don't know if you guys saw the video I did with him interviewing Ted Cruz. This was a contentious point, right? This was Ted Cruz was essentially saying that there were Iranian people, they were in the country attempting to assassinate Trump. And Tucker was like, well, if that's the case and it's sanctioned by the government, then we should be at war with them. It's kind of interesting that all of this comes out right now. So that was thrown out there into the ether, and now we have this. Let's see where it goes.
Their account of the failed Biden border policies that we have to deal with right now, right?
I put it this way, Lawrence. The presence in this country of undocumented migrants or Iranian nationals who have links to Hezbollah, IRGC, is, in my judgment, a domestic law enforcement concern of the highest magnitude. I hope and expect that the FBI, my old department, DHS, are laser focused on this right now. There have been the 16 arrests in the last couple of days, but that's not necessarily all of them. My educated speculation is that law enforcement has been tracking these individuals for a while in this country to follow leads, to see who they are in contact with. But I'm glad to see these 16 off the streets.
Talk about the work that goes into finding these individuals, because there are people here on the terror watch list. How do they go about finding them? Because some of these were found in all over the United States: Alabama, Mississippi, Missouri, Texas, New York, Maryland, Colorado, California, Arizona.
If the process is working the way it should, this should be an international cooperative effort. I can't tell you the number of times we got a tip from a foreign intelligence agency about someone in another hemisphere trying to make their way to this hemisphere that were interdicted long before they could reach U.S. soil. Our law enforcement capability is really impressive, and we need to stay focused on this. And my overall message to those who are listening is our law enforcement capability, our counterterrorism capability in this country is first rate. Our government should lay out all the things that they are doing to protect the American people. But the public, as we approach a holiday week, the public should not be discouraged going to public events, and the public has a role to play too. If you see something, say something is still a valid public safety tool, and it does make a difference.
I love the fact that the FBI quickly moved on Iranian illegals here because of the sleeper cell worry, and that President evidently was told at the G7 from some of our allies that look out for sleeper cells that are ready to be activated here in the U.S., and it's got to be a concern.
Sleepers don't necessarily follow the direction from their sponsors. Somebody who's here in the United States who has links to the IRGC, to Hezbollah, may decide to take matters into their own hands.
So, Mr. Secretary, I want to get your comments on this. This vice mayor, what is that city called?
It's called Cudahy. It's in California.
Her name is Cynthia Gonzalez. This is what she posted on social media, and she got a knock on the door from the FBI. Watch.
Are all about territory, and this is 18th Street, and this is Torrance. You guys tag everything up, claiming hood. And now that your hood's being invaded by the biggest gang there is, there ain't a peep out of you. It's everyone else who's not about the gang life that's out there protesting and speaking up. We're out there like fighting our turf, protecting our people. And like, where you at?
Telling the gangs to get ready to take on ICE.
Yeah, that comment is inappropriate, whether you're the vice mayor of her city or LA or New York or Poughkeepsie, New York.
I just feel like in this country, we have a massive issue when it comes to people just like voting for people that they find like attractive. Like nobody, does anyone listen to, I'm not saying that she is or is not attractive. I really, maybe she's got a filter on or whatever. But I mean, when you look at like the New York City guy that just got, put into office and things of this nature, it's you look at Justin Trudeau, you look at Macron, they just, people that just look like they fit the role. Like, does anyone listen to what they're saying? And if they do, I just feel like a lot of millennials, a lot of Gen X's, like they've kind of been indoctrinated into like this socialist ideology that think it's a good idea. They don't look past the very surface level of these policies and what they do, and how they foster and just make chaos. You know, like how do you keep electing people that are just destroying your you know, they're doing absolutely nothing for you, or nothing for your community, or nothing for your city, or nothing for your town. Like they just keep draining and taking it and just dragging it into the ground. And then you get to the point where the shit is just falling apart all around. Then you finally elect one person that's like relatively, you know, conservative, or like has like some sort of like a law enforcement mindset, where it's like, listen, all you need, you just don't tax the shit out of people. Make sure everybody's safe, right? Just have, you know, follow the rules, and that's it. That's it in a nutshell. That's what you need for a successful place, right? You can't hit him. You got to pay him for his stuff, for his work, for his services, right? And safety, you know, safety, security, and lessen the burden on the citizen. That's what you got to do. And people are just like, I don't know if they're brainwashed. Like, I don't know if they've just been so indoctrinated with communism. It just doesn't penetrate. No matter what, it doesn't penetrate. It doesn't get through. It's amazing.
That's an inappropriate comment. And let me add this. What I used to tell people at ICE when I was secretary, Tom Homan included, was when you're out on the streets doing your job, use common sense, because one notorious incident can turbocharge a sanctuary city movement, like we're seeing right now across this country. The ideal situation is where local law enforcement is working effectively with ICE to find these people in pretrial detention, find these people as their sentences end and they're about to be released, put detainers on them, and deport the criminals.
And they're not cooperating now, Mr. Secretary. Back then, you actually deported more people.
3 million.
They're not cooperating. And
they didn't show up the way that they show up now. Yeah. I mean, they're doxing these agents. They're surrounding.
And just to be clear, like, that number is very misleading, the 3 million deported. So they count that as individuals that were turned around. So what I'm trying to explain to people in MAGA, libertarian leaning, people that want deportations to happen, is that there's no way we're going to deport all these people. It's impossible. It's impossible, because there's a difference between sending somebody back as they're coming over, and finding them and removing them. That's a massive undertaking. I think that if things get ramped up as much as they can, you probably could do maybe 1,000 a day. I think we're in the between 600 and 800 is what our average is, daily deportations. You could probably push it to 1,000, and then even still that's 300, between 300 and 400,000 a year. And I don't know if we can keep that up, but even if we did, you know, that means at the end of Trump's term, you're probably pushing like 1.5 million, you know, give or take. And obviously, if we have to, with that being said, we should be laser focused on criminals. I understand that they're all criminals because they came here illegally. We should be actively focused on people that are currently here and that are violent and that have committed other crimes other than just walking across the border. Should they all go? I would agree with that. However, that's not going to happen. It can't happen. We just don't have the resources, the time. There are too many other factors that go on in a situation like this. It's just logistically, it's almost impossible to do something like that. So with that being said, do you go to all the Home Depots and round everybody up? I mean, it's. I just don't want to see numbers for numbers' sake, right? I don't want to see the fact that the guys at Home Depot, or the fact that the guys that are doing Uber Eats or whatever, those are easy, right? Those are easy to round up, and maybe you'll get some criminals here and there. But I just don't. What I tend to see, having the background that I do, is that law enforcement would tend to boast of the numbers so that it looks good, and that's not something that I'm interested in. I want people that are bad, currently bad, right? Not the guys that are working, doing construction, stuff like that. If they get caught up, it is what it is. I'm not going to feel bad. But I would much rather target the individuals that are terrorizing our citizens, terrorizing our cities, just making life in general. That's what I would rather see, and I think it would be a much easier thing to digest for the average person if we were going after people with, you know, criminal records, gang members, things of that nature.
Surrounding them, I can just imagine what would you do in this situation when your cops were surrounded?
In sanctuary cities.
I personally would talk to the mayor of New York, the mayor of Philadelphia, and the mayor of dozens of other cities to say, you have to work with us. Don't wait for there to be a tragic incident in your city before you decide you need to work with ICE. Let's make this relationship work now.
So DHS commented on that video. She did end up taking that video down. The comments made by the vice mayor of Cudahy, California, Cynthia Gonzalez, are despicable. This kind of garbage has led to a more than 500% increase in assaults against our ICE law enforcement officers. And then the city of Cudahy released this statement. The comments made by the vice mayor reflect her personal views and do not represent the views or official position of the city of Cudahy. The city will be providing no further comment. What does law enforcement do? They went to her house. They're investigating. What should happen?
Well, first of all, when you're a vice mayor of a city, or when you're secretary of Homeland Security or any other public position, you have very little space for your personal views hearing publicly. She said it, and it was not a good comment. I would counsel our immigration enforcement personnel, when they're out in the streets doing their job, looking for undocumented, specifically the criminals, to use common sense in these communities, which are very often blue communities that start off from a position where they don't want to work with ICE. My advice is you have to use your common sense.
Mr. Secretary, you've been on this couch. You've been very upset about what's happening on the border. You've also been complimentary. Have you ever in your life heard about numbers as low as we've been hearing since President Trump took over?
No.
And do you believe he deserves credit for that and the Tom Homan team?
The numbers now are something like, last time I looked, 12,000 a month. The prior administration sometimes saw that in a day.
Wow.
If President Trump said, I've secured the border, that would be a legitimate statement to make, because the numbers now are the lowest in recorded history. Now, let me take that a step further. I think this president has an opportunity, looking at him in the face right now, and a lot of people won't want to hear this, comprehensive immigration reform. Just like, you know, a Nixon goes to China moment, or a Reagan discusses with the Soviet Union arms control. He is in a position to bring along a lot of Republicans and Democrats at some point before the midterms at an effort at comprehensive immigration reform to fix
We'll have
the
you back to talk about that.
Yeah, and he should call you because I know Tom Homan also has great respect for you.
Thanks
a lot,
so
Mr.
much,
Secretary.
Secretary.
It was a good take. Interesting conversation. I think that obviously, you know, if you can dissect what she said, and again, just getting back to people like that, it's just like what do people vote for? It's just astounding to me. But you know, he had some kind words to say. Obviously, he's from a previous administration that had you know relatively different views, but ultimately he understands what's necessary, and that you know he gave credit where credit is due. The border is essentially secure. Comprehensive immigration reform, it is like a lot of people, like he said, don't like to hear that, because then we kind of know what that means. That goes along the amnesty route, and a lot of people don't want to even start talking about that. I would say that if you get to a point where you start running out of like violent criminals to deport, then we can have that conversation. Prior to that, no. It's just something that's just going to allow people to stay here in perpetuity, and you know, it's not fair. You know, there are people waiting in line. You shouldn't allow the person to jump the line to get the benefits of becoming a citizen, or not, or you know, it's not right. It's not right, at least in my opinion. You can comment down below if you disagree. Please give me a like, give me a share, give me a subscribe. Subscribing helps me a lot as a small channel. And if you drop down in the comments and say anything, I will respond to you. Thanks a lot for coming on, guys. We'll see you again in the next video. Thanks a lot.